Hello, my name is Dr. Collins, and I want to speak about this whole GMOs and what I call food sovereignty. You see, in the name of progress, genetically modified organisms or GMOs are being sold to Africans, particularly Nigerians, in this case Nigerians, as a scientific breakthrough that will end hunger. But behind the glossy promise of these drought-resistant crops and higher yield lies a much more uncomfortable truth. That GMOs are fast becoming tools for economic dependency and a direct threat to Nigeria's food sovereignty. Now, the next question is, what do I mean by food sovereignty? See, food sovereignty goes beyond food security. It is the right of people to define their own food systems. It goes, like I said, beyond food security, which for me is just about having enough to eat. Food sovereignty includes control of the seeds, control of the land, and control of the farming methods. It is rooted in the idea that local farmers, not foreign companies or distant governments, should decide what is grown, how it is grown, and for whom the food is grown. GMOs, particularly those that are patented and produced by multinational corporations, strike at the heart of this principle. Let us talk about the economic trap of GMO seeds. GMO seeds are not like the traditional seeds that farmers can save, can replant, or share. They are patented. That means there is a patent right on it because it was invented by somebody. That means that farmers must buy them every planting season, along with specific chemical inputs, along with specific herbicides and fertilizers, often from the same companies that sold the seeds. This system is called technological lock-in. In Nigeria, this is not a hypothetical risk. It is not an imagination, it's not abstract, it's not theoretical, it's already happening. Since the commercial release of GMO beans and GMO maize, farmers have been forced or nudged into relying on seed varieties that are developed with the help of foreign biotech companies and their partners. Now, even if these seeds initially boost yield, and the long-term result is that farming system is dependent now on imported technologies, on dollar-priced inputs, and external intellectual property. That means that local control is gone. This for me is not development. This is economic capture. This for me seems like the recolonization of agriculture. I am a political scientist, so let's call it what it is. A 21st century recolonization. In the colonial era, Africa was forced into monocultures. We were forced into cocoa, cotton, and granules, not for local consumption, but for exports. Today, we risk a digital repeat of this same thing. This time is not going to be through the soldiers or missionaries, but through biotech contracts, through seed patents, and through donor-driven policies. Now, many of these GMO projects in Africa are funded and promoted by Western institutions such as USAID, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and other development actors. And these people partner with local ministries and local research institutions, and these actors have noble intentions, but the power dynamics are clear. Africans are positioned as beneficiaries of this foreign science, not co-creators and not owners. If a farmer in Zamfara or if a farmer in Enugu must ask for permission or pay royalties to plant seeds in their own land, who truly owns the land? Who truly owns the future? Who owns the farm? Of course, there are counter arguments to this. There are people who argue that GMOs feed people. Yes, these people argue that Nigeria faces real challenges, and I agree. We face challenges in climate change, pest, population growth, violence, and they believe that GMOs offer solutions. They say it's either GMOs or starvation. But for me, this is false choice. This is a false choice because there are evidence from countries like India and Burkina Faso that shows that while GMO adoptions can bring short-term gains, long-term outcomes often include soil degradation, farmer debt, and crop failures, because these are monocultures that are hit by new pests. Now, Burkina Faso, for instance, banned GMO cotton in 2016 after it degraded the quality of their exports and trapped their farmers in cycle of seed dependencies. Moreover, agroecological approaches or farming methods that work with nature and not against it are already helping African farmers to increase their yields without locking them in contracts with multinational corporations. Why now? Why should we adopt these things that are basically slavery or recolonization? We don't need import salvation. We need to support local innovation. What is the path forward, you would ask? For me, it's local control over our biotechnology, our universities. This is not an anti-science argument. I consider myself a scientist myself. It is a pro-democracy, pro-African, pro-independence, pro-farmer position. Science should serve the people. Science should not enslave the people. If Nigeria is to use GMOs, let us 1. Develop our biotech capacities through public research institutions owned by Nigerians and accountable to Nigerian farmers. 2. Let us reject seed patents that deny farmers the right to save or share seeds. 3. Let us ensure labeling and public education so that consumers can choose what they eat. 4. Let us strengthen local food systems with investment in agroecology, in storage, in rural infrastructure, and of course, access to land. You see, food is not just nutrition. Food is power. Let me conclude. Let me say this. The real debate about GMOs in Nigeria is not about science versus superstition. It is about who controls agriculture, who profits from it, and who gets to decide what ends up in our plates. If Nigeria surrenders its food systems to foreign governments, foreign corporations, we are not feeding ourselves anymore. We are being fed. That is not food security. That is food dependency. To protect our food sovereignty, we must resist the GMO economic model as it is currently structured. Anything less, for me, is surrender. It is capture, and we don't need that anymore. Once again, my name is Dr. Collins, and I'm a political scientist, and I endorse this message. Thank you.